it's Lee from coloringqueen.net, and today I want to show you the latest colouring book by Polish artist and illustrator Anya Miarczynska. It's called Tales from the Stars, and it's a hardback colouring book. You can see it up against Worlds of Wonder there. It's more A4 sized, and the cover on it is kind of smudge proof. It's not showing up any marks when I touch it. You can see her first colouring book there. It's a spiral bound artist edition colouring book on single pages. Now this one is based on the Zodiac, but it's completely different. It's called Tales from the Stars, and it really is tales. In this foreword in both Polish and English, Anya explains her idea for the book and how it all came about. Now, at the start of the book, we have these gorgeous set of guardian angels, and there are 12 of those in colour, reflecting each of the star signs, and they are stunning. Now, this was based on a series of paintings called Guardian Angels for the signs of the Zodiac, and Anya was commissioned to create those for a Polish magazine called Fourth Dimension, and that sort of came about because she was inspired by angels, and she got a number of requests to draw angels, and that sort of led to Zodiac. And there came about a feeling of that the Zodiac wasn't just black and white, it could transform. So often we think of our star signs as just the usual that's described, like Gemini, the twins, and known for being the Peter Pan, but she's actually gone deeper into this and sort of dives into her feelings and how they translate, and she's drawn pictures to reflect those feelings. And so each star sign not only has one picture, but there's 36 pictures, making 3 for each star sign, and it's about the emotions. She doesn't see the Zodiac as this black and white thing. She sees it as something that you can transform and be imaginative about, and it's a really a different version of any Zodiac book I've seen for colouring. So the images, of course, are gorgeous, and there are 112 pages in total in the book, printed on a medium quality paper. I think it's about 150 GSM. It's off-white, and her artwork has some sort of grayscale to it, but it's mostly line art in this book. But if you are a fan of grayscale, then on her Etsy shop, as well as selling coloured prints, she also has some amazingly beautiful grayscale art. And as well as doing these gorgeous drawings that were originally inspired by these angel drawings, she also illustrates for children's books. And if you have a look on her Instagram page, she has the most gorgeous images. You should see the bunnies on there. They are absolutely stunning. She also has a second Etsy store which has pictures that are a little bit more of an adult nature. They're semi-nude and in colour, and they are absolutely gorgeous. She uses oils and watercolours, and when she's not busy creating these beautiful colouring books for us, she actually creates murals, etc., for the local community and gives of her time. An all-round fabulous artist that just loves sharing her work. But if you read through that beginning prologue, it'll really detail her whole inspiration for creating these works. Anya was also featured in the Lady Spring colouring book. If you haven't seen that one already, it's on my channel, and I'll put a link to it below the video. But isn't her artwork gorgeous? There's so many soft details, And we've got the cover art to colour as well there. So many beautiful pictures and just inspired by, you know, gorgeous women. I love reading how artists get inspired to do their drawings and what makes them tick, and that foreword by Anya at the beginning is very insightful. I don't have time to read all of it to you, but I gave you sort of my summary of it, which is not 100% accurate, but it was my version of it. So we're going to test out some mediums on here. I've already put some circles on the paper, and starting off with my Prismacolors, I'm going to do 2 layers to see how well they blend, and just picking up a few random greens here. I haven't put a lot of thought into it. Millie, of course, will be helping today, as she always likes to. She loves being on film. So the Prismacolors are going down really well, and even with the 2 layers, there's a little bit of tooth still showing, but I'm not pressing very hard. But the paper could handle multiple layers if you chose to, so I've just put down 2 light layers. Also going to test the Faber-Castell Polychromos, and these are going on very nicely. They're very smooth, very creamy, and I do want to see if they'll all take 2 layers, because that's sort of what I'm working with today, is just making sure that I can get 2 layers on there. With the polys, you probably don't need to do 2 layers if you press a bit firmer, because they're going on very smoothly. A lot of vibrant colour is coming out. Very easy to use, and probably getting a better result than the Prismacolors, but the Prismas would be better if you want to do a lot of layers, so more than 2. Now I'm going to test the Crayolas, because not everyone has fancy pants pencils, and the Crayolas are a good budget pencil that are available to a lot of people. Now they are going on quite easily and creamily, surprisingly, for Crayola, but there's not a lot of pigment coming out, and that's to be expected for the quality of the pencils, but you can still get some nice subtle looks there if you're using Crayola pencils, so you can still get something nice. And it does take multiple layers of it, but you won't get more saturation of colour unless you press down really hard, which you can of course do. But yeah, overall, for cheap and cheerful pencils, it's pretty good. Now the Holbeins. I'm just using my little set of 12 for this, so it doesn't really have a lot of tonal colours to do the blend, but I'm just going to do this purple and blue, and it's going on very easy. They're very creamy, and they're taking multiple layers as well, and probably out of all of them they seem to be giving the best result. But I mean, I'm a Prismacolor girl and I like to do lots of layers, so they'll probably be my choice, and I know the paper can hold more layers as well. Now the Black Widows, these are just from the regular set of Black Widows that I have, the original 144 odd, and I just picked a few random purples to do this, and they're going on very easily and creamily, and they're covering up the tooth pretty well. So if you don't like to do lots of layers, they might be a good choice, because there's sort of got a real creaminess to them, and they are taking a second layer, and you know, you could do more, I think, with the Black Widows, more layers if you wanted to, but lots of layers with the Prismacolors. So I'm going to try my Copic markers. Now these are alcohol based, and this is not alcohol paper, so Copics like Sharpies and Bic markers, they're all alcohol based, so they will show through to the other side, which it has done. So if you want to use alcohol markers, just be aware that you'll ruin the back and the other page underneath. So best to avoid unless you really don't care. So the Inktense is going on really well. I'm not using a lot of water here, and the black pen that I used must have been water-based because it smudged a little bit of my colouring there with the Inktense. The Tombow markers are going on extremely well, far better than the Inktense actually, and even with water they're moving around. There's no pilling on the paper with either of the Inktense or the Tombows, but for me the Tombows were far nicer experience than the Inktense. You can see a little bit of ghosting there on the back, but if you're wanting to use water-based products you won't have any problem with this colouring book, but no alcohol markers unless you're happy to ruin the page. So that's it from me. Until next time, stay safe and happy colouring.